Hello everyone, welcome back to the Straight Up Podcast with Zuzu and Aesha. We are finally back together.
Missed you, man.
Missed you too. We're finally back together. And we thought we're going to talk about something today, which is really something I'm holding in my hand. Okay, we're going to talk about our connection to certain things
In nature.
in nature, in this earth, and the main thing being our connection to water.
Yeah.
Okay, and I guess the reason why I thought we'd speak about this is I was talking to a bloke the other day that actually had a alkaline water set up similar to what I have at home. So I took notice of that, and we were talking about water, and one thing led to another, and he spoke about this documentary he watched about how water is, I guess, aware and sensitive to emotion.
Yep. You can program water.
You can program water in certain ways through emotions.
It holds memory.
It holds memory and things. And long story short, what this experiment he ended up doing with his family at home was he cooked rice basically in the same water, a pot of rice, and he separated it into 3 bowls.
Okay.
And they labelled each bowl. One saying love, one saying hate, and one saying ignore.
And what? Ignore. Oh wow. Okay.
So basically, show
Just
no
don't.
emotion.
Yeah, nothing. Okay.
Yeah. And I asked him what happens then, and what did he do? So he said they then separated all that, and they put it up on the shelf there. And every day, him and his family would approach each bowl, and obviously the one labelled with love, he would
Give it love.
give it love.
Yeah.
Say you're like the most beautiful rice I've ever seen. I love you so much.
Wow.
Rice, literally like this.
Wow. Start talking to me like that, bro.
Yeah. and then the next one was, you fucking shit rice. You taste like shit. I swear. He went, and I was shocked. I was taken back. This is a timid man.
Like.
And when he did that, I was like, Jesus.
Like, now settle down. It's only rice.
It wasn't special fried rice either. It was just normal rice. So he abused the rice for hate, and for ignore. He said, I didn't even look at it. He goes, I forgot it was there for weeks. Didn't even look at it. And I said, what happened? And he goes, well, over time, the bowl with love, labelled love, barely grew any mould or anything. Stayed almost the same shape and texture and colour. The one with hate lost its colour, turned a bit grey, a bit darker. The one that said ignore was completely destroyed.
Worse than hate.
Worse than hate. You know what his daughter said to him?
What?
This is the part that I love. His daughter that was witnessing this experiment said, Dad, you know what? I would rather be hated in life than ignored.
Oh my God.
All from the rice. All from that little experiment. And
do you know what? It makes
that,
sense.
Yeah,
makes sense. Think about it, right? At least hate or some sort of emotion is still attention.
It's still
attention. It's still some sort of energy
some
being
sort
given
of,
to you, right?
Exactly. Some sort of emotion.
But do you know what? Oh my God, this is amazing. But do you know what? They've done tests where they've studied parents who have sort of abused their children in a way, right? So even mentally abused, or even some sort of physical abuse, or maybe just even being drug addicts or something. There was some abuse, right? Not talking about sexual abuse, I'm not sure about that, but just there was some sort of abuse in some context to these kids, right? Do you know what they found is that the kids that were neglected actually had worse symptoms, or like they were actually worse off because they were actually neglected, rather than the kids that had some sort of abuse from the parent.
Yeah, you know what?
So think about our culture a little bit. You get smacked around a little bit. Well, I used to. We don't do it now, but
they're still loving that.
Still loving that, right? But imagine your parent just completely ignored you.
100%. And I was watching, while I was in Queensland, I was watching that Jeffrey Dahmer documentary on Netflix.
Okay.
About, that crazy, that serial killer dude.
Oh, okay.
Right? And throughout the documentary, or the show, it's a series, you watch it, and what a lot of it stems from, his mother never held him once.
What?
Not his mum. The dad said. The dad explains that his mum never held him. Even as a baby, when he was born, she refused to hold, and she had resentment towards him, and she never showed him 1 ounce of love, to the point where she never held him in her arms.
Wow.
So
Does that not make sense, man?
Now it does. Just now, yeah. Just remembering, I've watched that. I'm like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
That guy had no love. The dad was working hard, so he was under the pump working, so he was in and out all the time.
Wow,
and
man.
Yeah, man. So the mum never showed him compassion, love, nothing.
And that's like that, ignoring, like no energy. So think about it. If something has no energy, think about its life force, yeah? It means it's not alive. There is like, it's almost like it's dead. Think of stagnant water. Yeah. Right, there's no life in the water. 100%. You wouldn't drink from it. You'd freaking get sick and die.
Yeah.
It's like we're made out of water, and we're made out of water. And imagine not giving some sort of charge to it, some sort of aliveness to it, some sort of emotion to it, and you just neglect it. What the fuck do you think is going to happen to the system?
100%. And when he's questioned, he reckons he can't even remember. He's on autopilot. When he was doing, like even real interviews, they're asking him, like, mate, why did you do this? He goes, I don't know. I actually can't tell you why. I felt nothing. There was no feeling towards it. Nothing. He goes, I just had a compulsion
to do it.
To do that. But then there is no emotion when he's doing it. There you go, because there's. And he was very like apologetic about it because he knows it wasn't right. But he's like, I have no explanation for it.
Yeah, wow.
It was weird.
Does that not make sense though? Now when I look back and I think, you know, like, because you know what? I had this discussion with a friend of mine recently. I thought, you know how we grow up now, parenting is so different to the way my parents parented me, right? Yeah. And my parents were like, you know, they would yell, they would scream, they would even smack us now and then, and it was like that. But to be honest, dude, and I was talking to my friend about it, I said, you know, I never felt not loved. I never felt not loved, right? Whereas now there's so many like, oh, make sure you speak to your kid like this, make sure you do this with your kid and this and that and that. There's so many rules, right? So that you know, we're trying to like make our kids feel seen and heard and loved and whatever. Bro, my parents did not have those tools, right? They were straight out raw, like you did something, you copped it, you yelled at. But at the same time, there was no devices, there was no distraction, there was no outside fucking, you know, consumering activities and actions that were pulling attention away. It was more like, even if there was yelling, it was in the house, even there was happiness, we ate together, we screamed together, we laughed together, we yelled together. Everything was more connected as a unit, and I think that's why that worked, and that's why now it's different, and I get that. But it really makes sense because I also know that there are kids that have grown up in, you know, so-called families where the husband and wife, everything looks really pretty on paper and, you know, on the outside, but the kids are neglected, and I see how that affects the child more so than a kid that's like rah 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 because the mum's busy working 3 jobs and is still yelling and involved. You're still getting love and attention, but neglect, you know what I feel neglect is, man? I feel, right, neglect is like, I choose not to see you. It's not that I'm busy or I have a drug addiction or I'm in a bit of a mess right now and that's why I'm screaming at you. Neglect, if everything else, safety and security and food and home is all looked after, and you as a parent then are so busy in your life, so busy because you're fluffing and doing all that stuff. You know, a kid knows the difference between my mum doesn't have to do it, my dad doesn't have to do that, is choosing to, and that's a different neglect, man. Yeah, because I think the kid feels when you it's a
choose,
choice.
It's a choice, but you also feel no importance.
That's what I'm saying, because they will be thinking my parents choosing not to fucking be with me.
100%, and then you feel that there's no importance at all, and
then relate it back to that experiment.
100%.
Being over 70% water,
your spirit will die.
Right?
Like
think of stagnation. It's like, what are you communicating to that? And think about it, we're like a battery cell. We have water, we're charged. So if you're not giving it that sort of energy and attention and stuff, what's happening to that battery cell?
Well, it's obviously, eventually it dies.
Yeah.
If you're not working that battery. If you're not working that battery cell, it dies. If you don't turn it over, it dies. So look, I found it very crazy, and kind of it smacked me in the face a bit. So like, because years ago I'd go, what the fuck? Were you talking to your water?
Water,
do you understand what I mean? And I was like, nah, man, these people are cooked. But but now, honestly...
Well, what did you talk about just off camera, about the moon?
Yeah, about the moon.
Right.
Like, and then it gets you to think, all right, if the moon can move tons and tons of ocean, as if it can't affect the human being. Like, you think it's not going to affect the 70 kilo, 90 kilo person?
Yeah, and that's why the full moon has certain effects, and the new moon has certain effects, and you know, like, we are actually made as a massive system that works together. So during full moon and during, you know, new moon, they harvest, or they plow, or they do this, or they do these rituals. Why, man? They didn't make this calendar of January, February, March. They used to actually work on the skies and what the moon and the sun is doing, and they would work in relationship to the universe. Yeah. And that's why there was so much
more connected.
Much more connected, man.
Than what we are now.
Think about even people now in the tribes and stuff, they still work on that way. They're so connected. They know, they feel, right? And they don't, and you can look and go, oh, but look at them, they live in a jungle and stuff. Yeah, but they don't have the sickness we have, bro.
That's what I was going to say just now, right? Because imagine now, this sounds like, to me, that when you're so connected to Earth, your body understands how to survive and live according to you got the sun, the moon, everything.
Yes.
Imagine, like, now just think about all the stuff we do every day with the artificial lights, all the bullshit technology, the phones, this, that.
The Wi-Fi, everything.
That is just a resistance. That is a complete resistance to what our bodies are supposed to do.
Exactly.
Complete resistance to what the Earth is doing to us.
What they say, we've got rubber on our feet. We don't even get the electrons, you know, to go up into our body and regulate. But we've got so much excess stimulation, so our body's charged. We wear rubber soles. We're not getting the, you know, the nice negative electrons going through and sort of like balancing us out. You know, like, if you really think about it, like, you can, and why we're talking about this too is just think about it, bro. Water is pretty accessible, right? You can find devices that actually can purify water, and they're not that friggin' expensive, to be honest, compared to what we spend like money on crap for.
100%.
The other thing is sunshine is always available, or even if it's a cloudy day, you still got you still got it. You got earth, you got soil, right? You got barefoot.
Yeah.
Like, these things, these are what activates this intelligence. Your body's an intelligent system. It's like a machine, right? And it's like, and you've got all these things that the universe created to charge you naturally and to make sure the system works to the optimum, right? And here we are complaining that we don't have this and we don't have that, and we're missing out on this. Like, seriously, your body will thrive, and everything that your body needs to thrive is actually free, pretty much. Do you know what I mean? Like, 100%. But we choose to not do the easy, simple things because it's effort, a little bit of effort.
Yeah, and another thing is, like, also being grateful now for things like water.
Yeah, man.
Especially in a Western world, Western lifestyle that we live.
Yeah, water.
We just think, you know, you turn the tap on, it's there, whatever. Everything's just accessible, right? But being grateful for things like water, food, you know, I mean, actually appreciating
clean air, everything, man.
But being grateful when you drink it.
Yeah. Being
more conscious of how you eat.
Well, think about it now, and imagine, like, with your kids before they go to school, they have a glass of water, they have a little label on there. You don't have to highlight it, but it could be under their bottle that says love or something.
Yeah.
Or whatever their word for the day is. It could be anything they choose, right? And you stick it on there, and they feel that every time they're drinking.
Yeah.
Man, that is not hard. No. That is seriously not hard. And you know from these experiments now, it works. It's real. Water has memory. You can program it to whatever you want. And so every time, knowing that your kid's going there and drinking that, how good does it feel? And so simple.
100%. And usually with Roman, I do gratefulness before he goes to bed with him.
Yeah.
We're adding water into it now.
So you go, always do water.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going to make sure from tonight.
How cool is that?
He's actually grateful to water.
Yeah.
And he's
drinking
it. He feels gratefulness. You know what I mean? 100%. But I was blown away with, like, just that conversation with that man.
Yeah, how
and
cool is that?
He actually did it.
Yeah.
And the rice.
And that's the best part, right? It's like someone did it and it worked. It wasn't even an experiment you saw on YouTube. It was like, dude, no, this guy did it. And he told me, and it happened, and this. And, obviously you guys can try it at home too, but it's not something that won't work. It is what it is. Water is that amazing. You can charge it. And I actually came across another, because we say water is like steam, there's like ice and there's water, but there's also another type of water. It's called EZ water. It's actually like a mucousy composition, like the feeling of it. It's meant to be like a jelly kind. It's in our body. It's called EZ water. Yeah, so I'm gonna look into that because that's apparently really, really important. And if we cultivate that and
but you can't access that from anywhere else.
No, guess what? Red light therapy and that will help. Sauna helps it. It actually stimulates that.
I've got
it's in our system.
One of our students does red light therapy.
Yeah, red light therapy is really good.
It boosted his testosterone.
Yeah, it does. So look into EZ water. It's really good. So it's collagen. It helps with a lot of stuff. So grounding, sunlight. The first light when you first open your eyes without freaking getting artificial light, all this stimulates that.
Yeah, so not grabbing your phone.
No. Open your eyes, because that also signals to the body, okay, time to switch on. And so that's why they, like even going off a little bit off track, but going to bed at night, like what happens is when the sun is going down, it's actually signaling to the body, okay, time to wind down. But we have artificial light, it's still stimulating. Right, and that's why people can't go to sleep. It's like, fuck.
Hey, you know what I noticed in Queensland?
What?
I don't know if you did because you went there not long ago.
Yeah.
Mate, I was waking up
earlier.
With no alarm earlier.
Yeah.
And going to bed earlier, but fresh.
Yeah.
Waking up at 5, and I was waking up like a couple
it's
of minutes
but
apart.
it's sunny. But you were outside near the beach in water, like you were living life.
But their lifestyle was different.
Yeah.
And I realised, people go out and catch up for breakfast and dinner. So
But that doesn't mean you can't apply it in your life.
No,
I don't care where you live. You can
100%.
always apply it. It just means that you've got to do things differently.
I was just saying, like, the body reacts so different. Like it knows.
It knows.
It knew that the sun was up, time to get up, and you felt refreshed, you felt ready, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without an alarm.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
That's how it was meant to be. So, what do you reckon? The figure should try the experiment.
I think try the experiment, and it doesn't hurt to be more conscious of the quality of water that you drink and how you treat water.
And look into things that you can actually program water with. There's a few things out there. Check that out as well.
Yep, and don't take water for granted, because we take a lot of things for granted. So be grateful for what you have, for the water you have, the fruit you eat, the vegetables you eat.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And even fruit has water.
Yeah, so it's very high. That's what I mean. Very high. These type of foods with high water content. Is the same thing as drinking a glass of water. The memory in that food is there.
Absolutely.
And we're putting it through our bodies, so we have to be very conscious of what we're putting in and how we treat that.
Even if you are somewhere, you've got a glass of water at a restaurant, you can't do. As you're drinking, grateful, thank you.
100%.
Love, you're drinking love.
Because unfortunately in this world, there's people that will die for that glass of water.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool, guys.
Well done. Well done. We're back. We're back together. Cool. So I'll upload all of our little snippets now to our Instagram, and the full videos are on our YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So
we'll also upload
we can upload each episode's YouTube to the Instagram thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Done.
Cheers. Till next time.
Till next time. Peace in the Middle East. Peace. I can say that 'cause I'm